Hey, so today we're going to talk about the dimensions of the mind of light. And when we talk about you're from a dimension, you're a higher dimensional being, bro, we have all of the dimensions in us. It's which one are you accessing? You like his big fat head? I love his big fat head. Is the big squishy brain, okay? So these dimensions of mind, okay, the stars, okay, these represent the dimensions of mind and how they are coming in, the frequency and how they connect into you, right? And you, me, us, we are here shifting our perception from the lower frequencies. The lower frequencies, can you see this? Okay. These are the lenses, the lower frequencies. So the cosmic being, let me push pause. The cosmic being, which we exist within, right? The eye of the cosmic being, we call God source. God is perceiving reality. All is through the eye, the lens of God. And the lens in which God is projecting, just like from the lens in which we perceive this reality, is the lens for which we are perceiving, receiving through our belief systems, our own level of awareness and what we're operating through. So if we're living in our own hell, fear, separation in the root chakra, okay, if we're coming from like scarcity, lack, and creative blocks or lust, or if we're identified with our personal power, okay, the I, the independent I instead of the I am, the lower three chakras, when they're in imbalance, when they're not in harmony, they're in corruption, okay, when there's separation, when we feel that there is some external authority that has taken over us, okay, we perceive our personal reality from those lower lenses. Now, when we come into the heart, which is what we call the soul, all right, when we come into our heart and we're embodying more of our soul essence, the heart essence, we're coming from a place of compassion, equilibrium, and understanding, which means that, we understand the lessons in which we have experienced and that everything is working for us, through us, not against us, not to hurt us, but to build us, to make us stronger, right? Okay, so source as well, this is where the root races come in and the development of the lower bodies and the alchemization of them. So source, God, has been perceiving this reality in which we are cells, okay, and we are the many faces of God, many facets of God out here living the dream, right, in the illusion, in the Maya, in the dream state. And the level at which we are playing in at the current now moment is what we call the little season of Satan, Satan's short season, which Satan is Saturn, which is the root chakra. So we're here clearing out all of the fear-based limitations and becoming sovereign within ourselves and breaking through all of our limitations to balance this root chakra, to yoke it with the ether body, okay? So God is perceiving right now collectively, and we're all projecting and creating this unconsciously and consciously. The beings that have chosen to heal within themselves are the ones that are shifting the hologram, the ones that are acting as the ego, or they're acting as slaves, or they're in a slave system, they're still in that mindset, okay? They're upholding the fear structures. So this is what God is perceiving right now. They're lenses through which God is projecting onto the plane of inertia, okay, and through the hologram, okay? Now, depending on what tune you're playing, what keys that you're playing in your DNA, right? The keys here, all right, on the sine wave, the sin, the wave of sin, the sine wave of sin, which is just coming into motion. It's a perception, so it's an observation. So whenever we observe it, therefore it is. It's a happening. The waves break into particle, okay? And so what we're doing is we're elevating, again, from that root chakra perception, and we're yoking it to the etheric. So we have to go all the way down. Source had to go all the way into the depths of its own self, which we're an emanation of each one of these layers. We play out, like in a video game, each one of these levels. And this is the big boss battle. And in order to get, the diamond suit, this is, I think it's a Minecraft, to get our diamond armor, Minecraft, we have to, go that final boss battle. We have to chisel down. We have to get certain things in our toolbox, which is self-sovereignty. And we have to learn how to overcome the limiting lower mind, or the subconscious beliefs and the karmic imprints of our ancestors, which is from the 6th root race and the 5th root race. Now you really can't see it because I have it in, all right, that's the solar plexus. So essentially, these are the lenses of perception through which God is expressing. And again, depending on, the planetary alignments and the energies in our frequency in our DNA, what we are oscillating and vibrating or attuning to, because we're receivers. And once we attune our vessel, our body, and our genetic resonance to the higher frequencies that are already there. They're always there. It's just a matter of attunement, okay, integration. Then we elevate into, and we yoke that etheric body, and then we will perceive and receive more of the etheric, unbridled, pure potential within the ether, within our ether. It connects us into the atmosphere and those pure, noble gases, and we become noble beings. Again, this is another image here of the carbon-based DNA that I've talked about before, and the base platonic solid, the material 2% DNA, and the ATCG, and how these are basically the foundation are the platonic solids. And that's the earth, the air, the water, and the fire. And by combining these or transmuting these, which is like taking your raw emotions, okay, which are the minerals, okay, and those minerals are the pure power once they're alchemized, right? Once you put the alchemicals in me, you purify, you burn out all of the karma and all of that, the raw emotion, and it turns it into a more of a gaseous state within ourselves. So essentially what's happening, okay, I'm going to hop out of the screen so you guys can see this. So what's happening is we've gone from the 7 deadly sins, the separate self, right, the godless self, and this is where our personality, ego identity is created, and that's attached to the pain and the suffering, the trauma of the separate self, the demonic, the 7 sins, right, the wrath, the lust, the envy, the sloth, jealousy, and lust. I think I already said that. But anyways, as we embody more of the soul, which is the bridge, the soul is the bridge, okay, to our Godhead. It's that in-between state. And this is where we're dissolving the ego identity that's attached to the pain and trauma through the inner child healing. And again, that within self-reflection, through the art of self-reflection, contemplation, becoming self-aware, right, that changes our lens of perception. We solidify our lower 3 chakras. We move into the heart or the soul even more, and this is known as like a 4th dimensional frequency, or the gift frequency, your natural genius. And eventually the Siddhic state will bloom within the collective, the beings in which they've been holding and integrating the Godhead within them, from the personal identity into the Godhead. And that, again, activates the plasma aspect of our elemental body, which is the 5th element. So that 5th element, okay, the ether, once we've tapped into the ether and we've activated the noble gases, okay, because this is a periodic table of elements, the noble gases, it's taking the minerals, turn it into a noble gas. Once we've activated the nobility within us, right, we become electric beings. We are electric beings, but we go from being a lesser light, right, the oil, that's the whole thing, descending into the base of the spine, the root chakra, going into the depths of ourself to activate that kundalini energy, the seed, okay, and raise that seed all the way up to illuminate, to become like plasma beings. These are the electric cities, to become electricity, okay, highly conductive, drawing in the ether element into the physical form so that we can be more luminous beings, radiant beings in our expression, not only in what it is that we're receiving, but the energy in which we're wielding. We become the ether, air, water, fire. We become the benders, the supernatural beings. We tap into the whole self, the God essence, and we become crowned, kinged, lightning. Our crown receives the nobility, the noble gases. And we express that here on the plane of inertia, and we operate through the heart, which is more magnetic, we become more electromagnetic in our expression. And yes, the physical body does go through a transfiguration process. Not only a perceptual reality process, but an entire physical mutation. We become a plasma being, a semi-etheric expression. We're not operating from only the 2% codable DNA. We're start operating from the 98% non-codable, noble, inert gases. And because of this, we start operating from the higher dimensions of mind, the celestial consciousness, okay? And where the planets are at, okay, is really what star systems and frequencies, radio stations that we are receiving. And our level of perception is the ability to perceive and express these radio stations or dimensions of mind in the form through us. Spirit fully descend through us and expressed through us without any static or, any disruption, commercials, I like to call it, right? Any personal attachments and identity, which creates ease, effortlessness, and flow. And so, again, back to this, dimensions are of the mind. And when you are tuned in, tapped into the higher mind, higher frequency, of the Godhead, the God self within you, the cosmos, then you become a divine conduit for spirit to operate through. Meaning you become a crystal clear conduit for spirit to operate through. So, yeah, we have all the dimensions. It's just which aspect of yourself are you tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to. So, much love to you guys. I hope you found this useful, insightful, and have a beautiful day. If you have any questions or comments, just put them below. And I'll see you in the next video.